On your feet! Get them going!
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. I do have a spot on my... How do I get rid of that? Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. Not a pastor, a rabbi, all that stuff. And today I'm probably... I don't even know if I'm going to be getting into that. Sorry, I'm packing material right here. But as you can see, Ice Ice Baby is the theme. And we're going to talk about that photo in the thumbnail, which has been making the rounds, and it's kind of it reminds me of that kid with the drum. You know, the kid with the Native American dude and the drum, and he's just standing there and he's kind of uncomfortably smirking, and everyone, all the news media, because look, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but those 1,000 words can be all propaganda and lies. And in an age of, and which turned out to be absolutely the case with the kid and the drum and the Indian, right? And he won, I don't even know how much money that kid won from suing all ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC. He sued all those suckers. That kid probably could buy an island now. Actually, islands aren't really that expensive. It's weird. You'd think islands would be expensive, but really they're not. Mike has a plain t-shirt. Yes, a plain v-neck. And now I feel like I have a strayed nose hair. It's tickling me. I'm going to see if I can. Not tickling anymore. All right. Anyways, welcome to the show, Dustin, Tina, Amy, Dark Admiral, March Hare, and whoever comes in late, welcome to you too. I'm going to just share my screen. And I just before, because I was talking about this all last night on X, and then, oh my gosh, am I getting in the habit of calling it X instead of Twitter? It's working. Rather than, well, I went to X today. I went to Grok to find out if there were any updates on like the filming, because right now all we have, imagine it's October 2025. Everything today is filmed, right? Everything is filmed. Absolutely everything. Everything makes it social media. Yet this lady who was filming from her car, she was filming, right? Only posts one still frame out of her entire video. And I was going today to check. I'm like, is there any other footage of this? Or are there any other pictures of this now? Did they upload anything overnight? Did she finally upload the film so we could get the full breadth of the context of what's happening in this image? No, it's the next day. Still, no footage has been released. So that's actually, isn't that funny? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? A little too ironic. So this is me asking Grok just to make sure. And nope, there's just people reposting the same photo, close-ups of the photo, blah, blah, blah. And so here is, no, that's not, don't let me get ahead of it. Don't let me get ahead of it. I want to start with the photo. I don't want to start with my research into the photo. Actually, all right, here we go. Okay, so this is remember this little incident? A picture is worth 1,000 lies. I'm not saying this is a lie. What I'm saying is it's a little strange that out of her entire video that she was shooting, as she claimed to have been shooting, this is the only picture they posted, and there's no video accompanying it to get the context of it. Now, what I thought was particularly strange was, first of all, this is not a gun. This is a pepperball type weapon. And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, that is a very, because obviously this is gas canister. It's a gas propelled ball weapon of some sort. It's not a grenade launcher. Duh. Yeah, I remember that picture. Yeah, poor kid, right? They're doing that to this ICE agent now, who you can't see his face, so it doesn't really matter. But they're trying to paint ICE as like, oh my gosh, they're the Gestapo. They pointed a weapon at a girl, at a civilian. First of all, if you look at the entire picture, let's go by this step by step. Look at the entire picture. She has to be, I would estimate, well, you can actually see the reflection of her car, so you can tell the car is far enough away that you can get this much of a reflection of her car in the door, and you can get this much of her in frame. I would say generously, that's me being very conservative, she's minimum 6 feet away. I would guess she's closer to 10 feet away, but let's just say 6 feet to be conservative. If you've ever had a gun pointed at you, you'll recognize that this is not pointed at you. You'd have to be like point blank, like a foot away for anything coming out of that barrel to hit you. If you're 6 feet away, not a chance in the world is that gun pointed at you, which makes me wonder, she's filming this, right? If you're filming this and this is the closest angle you can get to your ICE dude pointing your gun at you, then you're just full of propagandistic bullcrap. Then on top of this, I was like really super curious what kind of a gun this is. So I did a whole lot of searching and asking Grok and all that kind of stuff. I found it. It's this thing. It's really kind of cool, actually. But check this out. What is unique about this particular weapon? Oops, that's another picture of this. Here it is. Here's the one. Let's zoom in on this. The FN303 is integrated an electro-optical solution consisting of an onboard FN Victor SP camera and image processing software, AI basically, that detects human heads in real time, providing audible and visual warnings as well as an automated trigger blocking mechanism. This technology drastically reduces the risk of serious and potential irreversible head-related injuries. So that's the weapon. I don't know when ICE started using these, but they're pretty cool. But that's what that weapon is. I don't know if that optical thing is optional or not, but that's what it is. It's basically a pepper ball gun. So it's as lethal as a paintball gun. It just, when it hits it, it has pepper. So it's like pepper spray, but pepper balls. You know what they should use is stink ball guns. If they like peppered those guys with stink balls, they'd all start throwing up and running away. It'd be awesome. But they don't do that. Nice piece of tech. Right. So all these people are like, oh my gosh, ICE aimed a rifle at some blood. It's like, okay, it's not a freaking rifle. It's a pepper ball gun. There's no lethality here. But if he shot her from that range, I'm like, that's not that close. People get shot. Literally, children shoot each other with paintballs for fun every single day. Well, they wear masks so they don't get shot in the face. This is integrated with the system. I'm not sure if this one has it, but it is integrated with the system that won't allow you to shoot someone in the face. And top it all off, if this is the closest thing she could get to, I mean, not top it all off, that's the point. It's not aimed at her. I've had a shotgun aimed at my face by the police. This is not being aimed at. That's a different story. We don't need to get into that. But I know what it looks like when a barrel is aimed at you. This is not aimed at you. So it's all like I said, a picture is worth 1,000 lies. aiming a loaded weapon at a woman just for filming him as he hunts immigrants in broad daylight. Okay, dude. No, that's really not. And there's no other accompanying video from external sources. There's no pictures. Someone claimed they had a picture from an external. Let's see if there's anyone else has posted. See, it's all just. Oh, I love this. Oh, never mind. You can't see it. Someone claimed a photo from external, but I don't know if Grok's accurate or not, but they said there is no other photographs or other video. So this is all we have to build this ridiculous narrative off of. Look, is ICE doing stuff that maybe is out of hand? They shot that priest with the pepper ball. I don't know what he was saying. I think that's probably pretty much out of hand. Maybe it was like the guy was a Protestant, and then so he saw there was a. Oh no, maybe he was a Catholic. It was a religious war. Because ICE isn't using body cams. I saw an ICE wearing, and they had the phone cam. Are you sure about that, Grinder? Let's ask Grok. I don't know. You might be right, but I saw one. I saw a video. I'll tell you what, though. I'm glad my son-in-law was prior to becoming a CHP officer. He was considering working for ICE. ICE warn camera policy overview. Let's share this. Yes, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents and officers are required to wear body-worn cameras under agency policy, but implementation is limited due to resource constraints. This stems from a congressionally mandated pilot program under President Biden and subsequent Department of Homeland Security guidelines. However, full nationwide rollout has not occurred as of 2025, partly due to budget shortfalls and policy updates under the current administration. Wow, budget shortfalls under Trump? Requirements. Cams must be activated during pre-planned enforcement activities, such as arrest warrant executions, brief detentions, and responses to disturbances at ICE facilities. They capture audio and video from the first-person perspective. Exceptions. Cameras are not used for certain undercover or investigative operations aboard commercial flights or solely to record First Amendment protected activities. As protests, agents receive annual training. So protests are an exception. That's weird. As a rule, they don't have to follow because they spent all the money on armored vehicles and really cool pepper ball guns that supposedly don't let you shoot people in the head. But they shot the priest in the head. I wonder if that was a different kind of pepper ball gun, or that one's just not equipped with the "don't shoot me in the head" camera. We pay trillions of dollars every year to secure our country, and this is the best we got. Well, I mean, it says right here the exception is protests. That's weird. Why is the exception protests? And yeah, not so. We're both right. I wouldn't say they don't wear body cams, but obviously they don't all wear body cams. But I did see ICE wearing body cams, so there it is. Are currently in the process of being equipped with body cameras, but their use is not yet widespread. I think that's the same. What Grok are you using Grok, or are you using ChatGPT? But it's basically the same answer. Mine's just more in depth. implementation being limited is the same as in the process of being equipped. Same, half a dozen, six of one, half a dozen of the other, as my dad always used to say. So that's what's going on in. I just wanted to talk about that because it was driving me nuts. Because I just remember that, is that Nick Spencer? Is that the kid who got lambasted over one photograph, and then they wouldn't show any of the context, and then the media just ran with the story until everyone believed this kid was a little racist Nazi, blah blah blah. You know, and now they're trying to pull the same. Look at this ICE agent; he's a racist Nazi, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, if that's the best picture you have. You see most of the videos, they have no cameras or name tags and are covering their face like it's a pandemic still. Sus. You know why they're covering their face, Corpse Grinder? Do you remember a guy named Charlie Kirk from a few weeks ago? These are ICE agents. These crazy psycho Antifa douchebags. Do you remember Summer of Love? How many people were murdered in the Summer of Love by you crazy leftist, not you, Corpse Grinder, obviously you're not a crazy leftist Antifa, but how many people were murdered? How many people were murdered during the so-called Summer of Love under the Trump admin? Summer of Love was sarcastically used by critics to describe the widespread BLM protests and Antifa associated unrest during the U.S. during 2020. The protests, which spanned from late May to August, September, overwhelmingly peaceful. 93 and 95% according to data from Armed Conflict Location data. But included instances of violence, riots, looting, and arson, leading to property damage estimated. Fiery but mostly peaceful protests, estimated 1 to 2 billion. Homicides linked to the protests. Gosh dang it. Can you just give me the stinking answer? As many as 36 people were killed in incidents directly tied to unrest from May to October. So, oh my gosh, I don't think this doesn't even include, remember the Vegas massacre? That's why they cover their faces, Corpse Grinder. Not because they're cowards. It's because if you dox these people, your people will murder their people. That's why they cover their faces. Is that cowardly? I don't know. It's kind of hard to be out there doing that job. And I mean, hell, Antifa or BLM, y'all murdered freaking just police officers, just in cold blood. So I think there's a valid reason for the ICE officers who are going to get the maximum amount of hate from your side, who you are defending currently in this conversation, Corpse Grinder. Yeah, right. You know, that's right. The looters cover their faces so that they don't get caught and have to suffer the consequences. So ICE is covering their faces so they don't get doxxed and get murdered by peaceful on your side. Do you understand this? You don't think there's any validity to who you guys are literally calling jackbooted Nazis? Like you're calling them like the brown shirts, and you're comparing them literally to the worst possible Nazis. You're probably saying they're shoving immigrants into ovens at this point. They're not cowards. The cowards are the ones complaining on the internet instead of making a difference. No, because they are government employees and therefore public knowledge. Right. So that your side can go out and hunt them down and murder them, like they did with the police during the Summer of Love. You're not really connecting the dots here, Corpse Grinder. Your side murders people for political disagreement. What do you think they want to do to the ICE agents who they think are the Gestapo? Corpse, no one is calling for murdering. Corpse Grinder. Holy cow. Did you not witness what people were saying after the Charlie Kirk shooting? They were calling for more. They wanted, and I know it's not you, and it's not most of the people on the left, but plenty of freaking people on the left were calling for more conservatives to be murdered. The right is calling for war. No, the left is literally calling for people to be murdered for political speech. What do you think they'll do to people they think are the Gestapo of the Trump administration? Use your freaking brain for 2 seconds without this political hogwash in your head. What do you think they will do? The people that are calling for the murder, the assassination, the execution of conservatives, what do you think they would do to the Gestapo of the Trump administration? Use your head. Please use your head. So extremists are dumb on both sides. What is your point? I know. Both sides summon the meme with the counting. Brother. It's not two-sided, dude. Literally, the assistant DA in Virginia just got outed for wanting his opponent's children dead. They call us Nazis. They call me a Nazi, Corpse Grinder. They call me a Nazi. I'm a terrible Nazi. I'll be honest with you. Terrible. Are we forgetting the leftists literally shot up an ICE facility in Texas like a week ago? Oh, yeah. Corpse Grinder, are you forgetting? Are you forgetting that a leftist literally shot up an ICE facility 2 weeks ago trying to kill ICE agents, right? But because he's an idiot leftist, he killed a bunch of illegal immigrants instead. Do you remember that, Corpse Grinder? Mr. Both sides have extremist stupid, blah, blah, blah. So sticks and stones, who cares what they say if they don't have evidence? What? Are you talking about? Are you talking to somebody else? What does that have to do there? And none of the Democrats associated with JJ in Virginia are removing him from their campaign. Oh, is that the guy? This guy? The DA? No. You know, that's the thing is, what was the percentage? A huge percentage of young left-wing ideologues are perfectly happy with violence in the name of their ideology. Violence as a response to free speech. What do you think their response to ICE is? Yeah, the ICE facility attack was very well documented. Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. They called you a Nazi. Who cares unless they have evidence? Bro, they killed Charlie Kirk less than a month ago because he thought he was a Nazi. A freaking, he's hate-filled Nazi, blah, blah, blah. Do you not understand? The Nazis are the ubiquitously agreed to enemies, except for by like 0.0000001% of the population of neo-Nazi nutbags. Everyone else in America believes that Nazis deserve to be shot. And they call us Nazis. They called Charlie a Nazi. They call every conservative, anyone who disagrees with their hardline left-wing policies, they call them Nazis to dehumanize them in order to make it okay to kill us. It's not just haha funny hyperbole. You got to get this through your head, dude. Your side is murdering us. And they do it in the excuse that they think we're Nazis, that we're going to shove. Ironically, they're the ones that also hate the Jews. But although this whole Jew hatred thing is getting way out of hand, even on the right, this is driving me nuts. I don't want, like, holy cow. Yeah, Charlie Kirk literally got murdered because people kept calling him a Nazi, you drooling moron. Just like you call the left socialist communist. It's both ways. I only call the ones that actually propose communist ideals communists. Not every socialist is a communist. Although if you ask communists, they'll say they're socialists. And there's literal people on the left who proclaim communism in this country, and they are supported by the left. So it's not both ways. Your side will promote actual communists. No one on the right proclaims Nazism. Literally no one. And don't lump in the neo-Nazi nutbags. Again, everyone on the right hates them. They don't want anything to do with them. But if you're on the left and you have a communist in your party, you welcome them with open arms. Your fellow travelers with communists, we are objectively don't want anything to do with anyone that's a Nazi. You see the difference? Can you understand that very distinct difference? They call out the people they think are showing fascistic tendencies. That's another thing. They don't understand what fascism is. That was a freaking lie. Calling fascists right wing was a lie by academia, because the academics were all communists and they wanted to make it look like the right wing is the enemy. In Spain, when the left took over, they were shutting down religious activities and executing priests. It was so bad, Franco looked tame by comparison. What kind of world was Jesus calling for? Everyone giving up what they have to help others. Sounds pretty communist. Okay. That's the by the way, that wasn't Jesus. That was the apostles in the book of Acts. And the reason they had to give up everything when they would join the church, right? People would become Christians. This was in Jerusalem, right? And what happened was people would proclaim that they were Christians, and then the religious ideologues would cancel them. You're a Christian? You're fired. You're a Christian? I won't buy from your business anymore. You're a Christian? You can't come to synagogue anymore. They would be canceled from society. Right? Christians being canceled for proclaiming their love of Christ. And so what would happen is they couldn't make money. Heck, some of them would be kicked out of their houses, I guess. Right? If you're a Christian, you're in a Jewish family, your family would kick you out. It's kind of like they do that in India today still. If you become a Christian and you're in the highest caste, you could be in the highest caste in India. They still do this today. I met a guy named Pilan Murtha. I had dinner with him. He was highest caste in India, which means next time you're reincarnated, you're, in paradise, whatever they call it. I can't remember what it's called in Hindu. Anyways, he became a Christian. His family excommunicated him. That's what they do. So that's what happened in this case. All the Christians were being canceled. And so the rich Christians, when they became Christians, they would give up all they had so that they could help to feed the people who could no longer work and make a living in Jewish society. It was a very specific scenario, very specific situation. Jesus doesn't teach everyone to give up all they have, like the rich young ruler. You know what the point of the rich young ruler? I love it, Corpse Grinder. Are you saying that what we should do is have our government live by biblical teachings? This is a great turn for you. It's wonderful that you think that we should make all of our laws based on Jesus's teachings. I'm 100% with you, man. Let's do it. Are you down? Are you down? Or are you just trying to play a little game of gotcha? Selling your stuff to help others isn't capitalism. Hell no. Okay, then why are you making that argument? Why are you making that argument that we should follow Jesus' teachings if you don't want to follow Jesus' teachings? Yes, it is. People did that sometimes back then, but it was not a requirement. Right. Correctamundo. They didn't have to give up everything to join the church. Peter said, your land is yours and you don't have to sell it. And if you do sell it, your money is yours and you don't have to give any of it. Right. What you don't do is promise you're going to give it and then pretend like you're giving it to make yourself look good. Brahma, samsara or something? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Good grief with the hippie Jesus nonsense. Sorry. I feel like I need water instead of coffee. Or rather, stolen by the state. Wait, what is they just saying? It is capitalism because it's voluntary and not mandated by the state. There you go. Taxes are not donations. Taxes are forced theft. It's the government stealing your money at the boot of a heel, at the heel of a boot, at the barrel of a gun. That's what taxes are. The government, by will of force, makes you give them your money. Right? That is not voluntary. You're not going to get crowns in heaven because you paid your taxes. Right? I'm not telling you not to pay your taxes. I'm just saying this is the government stealing from you and you're forced to do it. And so do it so you don't go to jail. But for the leftist, for the leftists who, they want to go to underwater basket weaving and get their PhD and dramatic protesting, they won't make any money with their stupid law degree or their stupid degrees. And so they, in their great act of charity, is getting the government to steal money from other people to further their causes, save the whales and kill the babies. Somebody woke up full of vinegar this morning. Without capitalism, you can't sell your stuff, right? Or rather, stolen by the state at gunpoint. Correct. It's force doctrine. You can sell your things without capitalism. No, you can't, because you require capitalism, or selling things requires a market of value, right? A market of value cannot exist outside of outside of capitalism. You can't set prices. Even communist systems, they set their prices based on what the capital systems in the world value items at. A thing does not have a value outside of a market. A market cannot exist in a state-run financial system. Even the communists set their prices based on capitalist systems surrounding them. So literally, you can't sell things. Well, you can't sell things for a realistic price. Don't want to get sniped. Wesley sniped. The state owns all the property. That's true. In communism, the state owns all the property. Everything's communally owned, so you can't sell anything. The ability to sell or market exchange is distinct from capitalism and can occur in various systems such as socialist market economy, even in small-scale non-monetary bartering systems. Well, non-monetary bartering isn't selling. It's bartering. That's why the word is different. It's not bartering. It's not selling. It's trading. And again, socialist market economies are price dependent on capitalist price markets. Corpse Grinder, you should go watch, and I think you'll enjoy it because at the end of every episode there's a healthy debate between a bunch of socialists and a handful of capitalists. Go watch Milton Friedman's Free to Choose series. He did it in, I think, 1979 on PBS. And I think it'll educate you about how markets actually work as opposed to the fiction that Keynesian economics has forced on most of the college kids in this country for the better part of the last half century. Maybe go do that. I would highly recommend it. It's called Free to Choose. I had all my kids watch it so they understand how nonsensical communism is. The only ones who are in support of communism are those who are not contributing to society. Bartering is capitalism. True. Name one socialist society that has worked. I'll wait. Yeah, Margaret Thatcher was right. So socialism only works until you run out of other people's money. Then that's the capitalist money. And then that's when they all starve. Socialists have to implement limited capitalist systems because without them, the economy collapses. That's right. Look at China. When Mao took over China, he made it a fully communist society. 100 million of his people starved to death under that socialist / communist system. And then at some point, because they're Chinese and they are smart, they realize that a pure communist system doesn't actually work, right? And so what did they do? They started integrating capitalism for the economic health to try to resuscitate the health of their country so that, hundreds of millions of people didn't keep starving to death. And by the way, did you know that that's why they eat all the bats and the what are those weird animals? All those different animals, the rats and cats, and why those markets exist is because under the communist system, the farmers failed to raise enough cattle to feed the population, and so the people started just going out into the jungles or the existing woodland and hunting and finding whatever the hell they could to eat. It's not like 4,000 years ago bats and rats were on the menu in Chinese cuisine. This happened because of communism. They went out and they found anything with protein and they started eating it, and it became their cuisine. Those wet markets, they exist because of Mao Zedong turning to communism and the starvation of 100 million of his own people. Genius. Anyways, so they turned to a capitalist system in part. What they actually turned into is a fascist system. It's not communist China anymore. It's fascist China. So as in Germany and as in Italy, the fascists would allow capitalist, they would allow industry to be privately owned. See, in communism and socialism, industry is owned by the state, owned by the people. And that's why 100 million people starved in China. When they let industry be run, they took a look at Hong Kong. Same people, Chinese, right? But Hong Kong was a purely free market economy, and it boomed. It was the freest free market in the world. It was the capitalist of capitalist systems. And it boomed right next door to China. Same people, same background, same everything. Communist this side, 100 million starved. Capitalist this side, booming economy. Absolutely booming. Everyone's boats were rising. You could start at the bottom and work your way to the top. China, smart leadership, smart. They're like, well, why don't we try to take some of that, booming economy thing, bring it on over to mainland China, but we'll do what the Nazis and the Italians did. We'll have state controls on those industries. So like in it's very funny actually what they do in China now is if you start a business, you have all the right in the world. You can go to China and you can start your own business. Regulations are nil or limited, whatever, just like it was in Hong Kong. There was nothing in Hong Kong, no regulations in Hong Kong. And you start your business, and if you prove your business and you start doing really well at your business, the government will come in and take your business. They'll let you run it, but it's under their basically ownership. And then what they'll do is they will plug in. They'll take, let's like say you build your business to now your business makes $1 million a year. They'll take whatever business in whatever industry you are in, and they will make it part of their network. So they became like the industrial Borg. It's really actually quite brilliant. So they'll be like, what would be great for your business, which you're running and you've created great success for, is if it was also integrated with this business, which would broaden the scope of what you're able to do. So instead of making $1 million a year, you can make $10 million a year over here, and you integrate into the Borg machine of Chinese fascist industry state emergence. So really, modern fascism is led in the world by China. Jesus told the rich young man to sell all he had to reveal to him that his love of wealth, his faith in it, was stronger than his love and his faith in God. Right. Or Tick History has a lot of videos on economics. But if we just did it my way, since how I am so smart, socialism definitely would have worked. That's literally, I remember when I don't know how old I was. I think I was a teenager. I remember Ted Kennedy literally saying something so close to that on the floor of the Senate. The only reason socialism hasn't worked is because I wasn't in charge of it. These people. This is what happened with the Germans back in the 20s and 30s. We literally can't even replicate this in Minecraft servers. I used to play in a cycling civilization and sociological set of worlds on a server host for years. The socialists and commies couldn't actually get an economy off the ground. Pangdalan. I think you're spelling that wrong, but yeah, Pandalans. Pangdalans. I don't think there's an I in it. Pangdalan. That's something like that. The rich young man wanted Jesus to tell him how to inherit eternal life, and Jesus revealed to him that his wealth had become an idol to him and was impeding his devotion to God. Right. Rednecks do that. I don't know what you're talking about. No, actually, they don't. Corpse. They know how to spell it. Right. Pangdalan. Is it Pangdalan? Is that how it's pronounced? Socialism and communism, both prosperity and poverty, virtue and guilt, are collective traits. With God, these things are individual traits. Buddy Rabbit says, even at the most basic level, the socialists and commies were bartering, and the best nations on the servers were the mixed or capitalist economic groups. There you go. Fascism is still a brand of socialism. Right. That's what they don't get. Except for the state. Everything, I think, other than the state owning the means of production. Although some people will say that that's what socialism is. It's the state owning the means of production, or the people owning the state's means of production. I will point out South Africa. South Africa used to be the breadbasket of the continent. South Africa used to feed the African continent until Nelson Mandela, the communist, took over and implemented communist reforms. And now look at South Africa. What a freaking mess that place is. When a person gives... Oh, also, we have so many examples of this. Argentina used to be the most prosperous country in the Western Hemisphere. More prosperous than America. A guy named Perón. A socialist fella who was, by the way, buddies with Hitler. What? Why was a socialist friends with Hitler? I thought the socialists and the fascists hated each other. Oh, that's why all the Nazis went to Argentina after World War II. Weird. It's almost like the socialists and the fascists had the same ideology. That's bizarre. But anyways, so yeah, it was the richest nation in the Western Hemisphere. And then Perón implemented all of his lovely socialist ideas. And then it became an economic basket case. Because that's what socialism does to countries. It works until you run out of other people's money. The love of money for the money's sake is a sin. That is why the rich man would not sell all his possessions. Right? It's not even if you're doing well. If you have over a certain amount of employees, you need to add a party member to the company. That's how Nazis did it. Okay, you're talking about China. That's how the Nazis did it too. It's like if you weren't a loyal, if you owned a company in Nazi Germany, you had to be a loyal Nazi party member. So it's like the government didn't own all the companies, but if your company wasn't owned by a loyal Nazi, then, watch Schindler's List for Pete's sake. If your company wasn't owned by a loyal Nazi, if you weren't loyal to the party, they would remove you and they would give your company, not to the government, to the ideology, to a loyal member. You've never been to a squirrel roast or had frog legs. People eat everything they can catch and cook. Frog legs are like a delicacy in France. And maybe, you know what? Who knows? Maybe it was after, I don't know when. Actually, let's ask Ruck. When did frog leg? And I know you're saying, oh, but you know, oh, all these guys. Yes, it's not. They'll just go out and do it. They eat cats and dogs. They have little kittens in cages for you. Frogs were eaten in France as early as the Middle Ages, particularly in rural areas and during times of food scarcity. Catholic dietary restrictions played a key role. Monks and peasants, forbidden from eating meat on Fridays and during Lent, turned to frogs as a permissible protein source, as they were classified as fish by the church, similar to how beaver tails were treated in other regions. Wetlands and regions like the Donbass were abundant with frogs, making them a practical choice. So people eat weird stuff out of necessity. You're not arguing my point. People eat weird stuff like cats and dogs and bats and rats out of necessity, and then it becomes a part of the diet. And that's why they went from eating cat. That's why wet markets exist. Corpse Grinder, you're not making an argument against my point. Yes, some people would rather have squirrel than steak. I think Jesus was trolling the rich young man. Yes, he was. We have pickled chicken and pig feet and balls. People in the South eat everything. They eat rats and bats. I know they eat alligator, but that's awesome. Alligator's a rat. You know, there are certain things you don't just, it's not your go-to. It's your, damn it, I have no food. I'll eat anything at this point. I mean, watch Naked and Afraid. Right? These guys get so hungry, they'll literally eat anything they can find. They'll eat tarantulas. They'll eat scorpions. They'll eat, when you're starving, any protein will do. And that's why the wet markets exist. Because, and you're ignoring the part where 100 million Chinese starved, Corpse Grinder. Why are you ignoring the point? Communism starved 100 million people. Just in China, by the way. Just China. If you add Russia, the gulags, the surrounding social, everything in that communist, it's like 200 million people died of starvation. Socialism is the religion of envy. That's right. That's 100% right. But it says, we even had server hosts require people to only attempt socialist and communist economies, actual economic bachelors and business students drafting models, and they never lasted. They can't last. In fascism, the state still owns the mean of production because they claim that a good fascist is meant to be a slave to the state, and through slavery to the state, they'll claim you'll be free. I'm sure that makes sense. It sounds like it makes sense, but I don't want to think about it for too long. It was hilarious at how angry they got. Even the ANCAPs had better economies. Anarcho-capitalists. The ones you see pushing for socialism are so hard are the same ones you see sitting around the workspace all day long with their hands in their pockets. Not exactly how the Nazis did it. They tried consolidated all business into 13 or something corporations, and then they put a party member at the head. They tried consolidated all business into 13 or something corporations, and they put a party member at the head. All right, send me some information on that. It's similar. All right, whatever, close enough. Lobster is a delicacy, but was considered a mud bug for the poor. Right, but we eat lobster because it's freaking delicious. That's why we eat lobster, right? Look, if rat was like the best thing you could pull out of the best kind of meat, we'd eat rat. We eat lobster because we eat crab and lobster and shrimp. They are bugs. They're the bugs of the sea, but they're freaking amazing. That's why we eat them. It's not, we don't have to like convince ourselves to eat lobster. It's like, bro, you give me a lobster. Give me heck yeah, I'm all about it. Squirrels and frogs aren't rats and bats. People don't eat possums, raccoons, and other nonsense. People eat possums. And tell you what, you put this country under communist rule for a couple decades, we'll eat all the possums and all the raccoons we can find. I guarantee you that, because we'll, out of 300 million here, 100 million of us would starve to death. I hear dogs are delicious, but I don't want to eat them. I hear they taste like pork. So yeah, I guess that would be delicious. But here we don't do it because they're our friends. Tuesday, the high was 88 degrees today. Frost advisory, Michigan weather. Oh my. You said they exist because communism, but they exist because of hard times. Oh, what caused the hard times that created the wet markets, Corpse Grinder? Can you please just add 2 and 2 together for me one time? Can you just do the through line of rational thought one time? There was a trend not long ago in China where they were sucking on cooked rocks with seasoning on it. I remember that. Anything with enough butter and seasoning tastes better. That's true. Butter is an amazing, magical thing, especially grass-fed butter. Yep, lobsters are scum eaters. It's true. Lobsters are scum. They're not as bad. Look, scum eaters are delicious. I'm not a huge fan of mussels, but clams, oysters, those eat scum. They're the filters of the sea. They're amazing. I love them. I got a pass constantly doing monastic living models. But you're really stuck on Minecraft here. We would give what we had to people and isolate in the mountains. We had the best ledgers and were often used as neutral mediators. It was fun. Oh, I got to tell you something. My friend, you know how well the Minecraft movie did? Almost $1 billion. My friend owns the movie rights. A good friend of mine. I just found, you know what? I figured he did because I knew he owned other media rights for it. But and so when the Minecraft movie came out, I'm like, I bet you he owns the movie rights for Terraria. And I talked to him a couple of days ago, and lo and behold, he does own the movie rights for Terraria. And Hollywood wants it because of how well Minecraft did. The hard time in America was communism too. I don't understand you, Corpse Grinder. You're so stuck on freaking trying to excuse the horrors of communism. And then you're like, at the same time, you're like, but you call all these people communists. That's like calling them Nazis. It's like, you're literally here defending communism. You don't want nobody. Do you hear anybody here defending Nazism? All us crazy super right wing Christians. You hear any of us defending freaking Nazism and fascism? But here you are defending communism. Do you comprehend that these two things are not the same? Wow. No, dude, causation, correlation. No, you're defending communism. You're pretending Like the starving of 100 million people because of communism wasn't what caused the hard time. Wasn't the hard time. The hard time was communism. And you're defending it. You, sir, are indoctrinated beyond your ability to think rationally. You need to, I don't know what you need to do. I'd tell you to pray, but you're an atheist. Oh, we're at an hour. Jeff says, when people in the U.S. go through hard times, they eat Cheetos. It was less about Minecraft, more about the economic experiment involved. I want the movie rights to Mega Man. Mike, you don't get his feelings. Really tell him that he's right. That's true. That's true. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Jump on into the Discord if you feel like carrying on the conversation. Otherwise, there's a political tab under cross-examinations. Otherwise, God bless you all. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next exciting episode of Cross-Examinations.